Welcome to the Valley today.
You were almost perfect.
You
were almost perfect.
I was so close. It was.
There are no pictures on the scorecard, but ladies and gentlemen, Janet's working all the buttons, got everything working. She's smiling, and she goes to talk and forgot she didn't turn the mic on.
The music was super loud, and I was trying to figure out, why is the music so loud? It shouldn't be that loud.
Yeah.
All of the things, which fits right in because 2 seconds ago I handed you my phone to look at something, and then I got up from my chair and said, "Where's my phone?" and thought I left it on the
right
table
here in my hand,
in the lobby.
where you placed it.
Welcome to a crazy Public Safety Thursday with Captain Warren Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. How are you? I hope you're having a better couple of days than me.
Hey, what a month this week has been.
Right?
Let me just say.
You are not wrong in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, we went from the royal visit. I was not involved, let me be clear.
Nor was I.
I turned them down. I'm like, nah, no kings.
Okay, you know that's not what that means, right?
Yeah, I do. But, I'm playing into the narrative here. But we went from that, big news for the area. Man, I was like, there you go. And great weather for it. Into the apple blossom again. Friday evening, a little bit of
it was a
cold,
little sketchy, but not crazy bad.
Saturday, kind of cool with the breeze, but sunshine. So you get through all of that. Sunday, I drive down to Roanoke. I teach for Monday and Tuesday, and then I'm back on Wednesday, and I've got a little bit of case of bronchitis, and it's meeting, it's interview, it's emails, it's phone calls. It's like job security is high right now.
I have no doubt.
But no, it has been a very busy, this makes a week, since last Thursday to this Thursday. It has been a month for me. So, but I'm happy. I'm on the right side of the grass. Is that the saying?
This is typical. Spring, I think it's safe to say, spring has sprung. And so all of the events and all of the things are happening. More people are venturing out of their houses. It doesn't get dark until after 8 o'clock now. So all of the things are happening, and it just seems like it's happening all at once.
Hey, if you live on a cul-de-sac, it not getting dark till after 8 o'clock is not necessarily a great thing. But it's also not a bad thing. I mean, I had children that were young once as well. They're not anymore, and thank goodness for that. But yeah, we're back to having to mow the grass, and we need the rain. Everybody keeps saying we need the rain. The little bit of grass I do have doesn't need the rain.
Right.
That stuff is growing.
You're happy to reallocate the rain to someone else's lawn or another part of the county.
and so, the things that typically come back with the warmer weather, the longer days, are slowly creeping back. Things are turning green. Leaves are growing. My car has pollen on it, 5 minutes after I wash it. And so the California duster is out. And I actually thought I was having a bout of allergies before I realized, I'm a week into these allergies. This is an allergy. So I'll see my doc tomorrow, get some meds and be okay. But the sheriff has been like, hey, stay out of my office. And I'm like, gladly, if that's all it takes.
I see how it is. So he wants you to stay out of his office, but he texted me 20 minutes ago to make sure that you gave me the hug he intended for me. So he's not worried about me getting whatever you've got.
Well, I mean,
Thank you,
no
Sheriff.
one's going to get what I got because it's not a contagious
It's not
thing.
like you've got the hantavirus. You haven't been on that cruise ship or anything.
Another reason I'm not going on a cruise.
Right.
Let alone I'd be trapped on a vessel with people I may or may not like, but you never know what's floating around on those things. See what I did there? I have a great career waiting for me in radio when I retire.
Sure you do.
Yeah. Hey, on the way in, you want to play that game?
Oh, yes, because I also have a on the way in story, so you go first.
So on the way in, I am almost to the radio station. I stopped down at the KFC down at the bottom of the hill, got me a little 8-piece nugget. I'm like, I'm going to have a quick snack. And so I get back on the road, and I'm coming up the hill. Here comes a car down the hill, flashing its high beams at me. And I'm like, oh, you trying to warn me that there's a law enforcement officer ahead.
I got that. That wasn't.
So I flashed my blue lights at him, and he about ran off the road on the other side. So it was quite funny. Not only is there one behind you, sir, there's one in front of you. And so that's what happened on the way in this morning.
Someone flashed their lights at me as I was coming up the hill, and I thought, I don't know who you're talking to because I'm about to turn right here. So that isn't going to impact me one way or the other. However, coming in after I got off Reliance, get on 522, I'm coming to the light at Walmart, and it is yellow from the top of the hill. So I know I'm going to have to stop. apparently the car behind me didn't think so, and zoom right on through that light. And I thought, where is God? When I could have watched this firsthand.
Where were you?
Yeah, I was at the light at Walmart.
Okay, in Frederick County.
No, that's Warren County. But if they're blowing through a red light, you're not going to let that go. We've had that conversation before. Just ask the dude that had to meet you after the radio show to get his license and registration.
Depending on how dangerous the situation, you're absolutely right. But it's not an automatic where's God's. So let's be clear.
True. That's true.
And like this guy flashing the lights, when my blue lights come on and he goes off the side of the road, it's like, I don't know if he thought, he's pulling me over. And it's like, no, I'm just saying hi. You're saying hi. People have asked before, is it illegal to do that? Is it illegal to flash your high beams at other vehicles? Here's what I'm going to say. We've talked about letter of the law, spirit of the law. Letter of the law is that lights on a vehicle have a particular use that they are to be used for. Blinking and flashing lights on ordinary vehicles are not allowed. So, is that a blinking or flashing light? If you're flashing your high beams at me 8 times, boom, 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 I consider that a flashing beacon. But, that would be a stretch. Some people say, well, it's freedom of speech. Well,
Who are those people?
The ones that like to flip police off and say, you can't do anything to me for doing this. And I say, you're absolutely right, and flip them off back. And let's have a conversation. Here we go, back and forth, back and forth.
You do not.
No, what?
You do not.
You're right. I do not. So is it illegal or not becomes the question. And I can tell you there are certain instances where, again, what if it's nighttime and you're flashing your high beams at me to warn me? You're required to keep your high beams on low within a certain distance of oncoming vehicles or while behind other vehicles. So if you really wanted to go by the letter of the law, you could some of these headlights, these halogens, these LEDs.
They're bright.
Correct. So when you do that, who's to say that I'm not looking directly in that, and now I can't see anything in front of me? There are all kinds of things. I'm not that guy. I'm not that officer, and most of the ones I know aren't. But if someone wanted to be, my answer to the question, if someone were to ask, is do it at your own risk. But yeah, you never know that the vehicle you're flashing to might flash something back at you, and it might catch you off guard like that person. So.
And the spirit of the law is the ultimate goal is slow down. So, the reality is if they're flashing your lights, usually the other person knows that must mean someone's sitting up ahead. Your goal is for them to slow down before, during, or even after they see you anyway.
Well, there are more than one. There are many people, I'll say, who think that we as law enforcement officers get upset if someone is warning you that we're set up somewhere, like on social media,
right.
Whether it be flashing headlights, whether it be you standing with a sign going "cop ahead," or being on social media, people think we get upset. There was a post on social media 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was going to address it, but I didn't. It's one of these community pages. This guy lives in South Carolina somewhere, but he has a scanner program, so he listens to our scanner, and he keeps a Frederick County page, and he updates, calls that are going on.
Because that's not weird.
Well, and sometimes he gets it right, and sometimes he doesn't, because not all traffic you hear on the radio is a 100% accurate. We're still figuring some things out. So in this post, he gives warnings to somebody about drive safe. I hear a bunch of traffic stops, yada, 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 and then says, Warren Gosnell doesn't like when I do this because he says it interferes with his job. Number one, I've never said that. I don't know you. I've never said that. But number two, if anybody can do anything that gets people to slow down, to obey the law, to drive more safely, we're all for it. So if you want to flash high beams at vehicles coming towards me, sitting somewhere running stationary radar, and I don't have to stop a single person, but I didn't have a single problem in that intersection, in that throughway, no crash, I'm good with it.
So our sheriff just texted me a photo of a cruiser sitting behind a big billboard sticking halfway out, and it says, slow down, there's a cruiser behind this sign.
There you go, see? And it works. The sign works. It's like...
It's just a matter of paying attention.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all lost, I think, so much human decency in the last 8 years since COVID. I blame COVID for starting it, and then there are a number of other things that have made it grow or continue. But it's common decency, it's common sense, and it's just take a breath, people.
It costs you $0 to treat somebody with kindness and respect, and to keep that motto that how would you want someone talking to you or talking to your loved ones? That's the way I try to think of it. And we've had this talk before. I'm a large, loud guy. And when I'm out, especially if I'm directing traffic, when I give directives with my voice, they are loud, they are precise, and someone says, "You sound mean." Well, tell me, how does one sound mean versus how does one sound polite and be able to project their voice across several lanes of traffic over the noise of traffic? But I digress.
You have to finish whatever you turn right. Have a blessed day.
Yes.
That's an inside joke.
That guy yesterday, come on back to the cul-de-sac, my friend. But wait till you see both my trucks in the lot. Right. But my point here being, there have been actual people that have called into the office after an encounter, and I'll use myself. They've done it with others, but use myself, and called in and said, your deputy was very mean to me, or better yet, very mean to my wife, who was in tears, who didn't get a ticket, who got a warning, but he yelled at her. And there's been more than once that, our friend, my boss, the sheriff, has said, "Hey, did you have your body camera on?" "Well, of course I did, sir." And we sit down and we watch it. And it's like, "Well, you're not yelling at anybody." "No, sir, I'm not. But I'm large, I am loud, and it is now a part of my repertoire on any given traffic stop along the shoulder of the road, no matter man, woman, child, young, old, whatever. At some point in time, I make the statement, I'm not yelling at you, I'm trying to be heard over the traffic." Very Some good. People are like, "Oh, okay." And others look at me like, "Well, yeah, I know that, dummy." It's like, look, I just say it to everybody now. So, yeah, voice and inflection and tone, but listen to what someone is saying to you and how they're saying it, and each person should also take that little bit of advice with them. It's like, we're all dealing with enough right now.
Right.
High fuel prices, taxes that may or may not be coming out of Richmond, thinking about the future and how much money do I need to do what I want to do and pay what I have to pay. Everyone's dealing with enough of that. And when it comes to law enforcement and public safety, we realize that when we're interacting with the public, especially proactively, traffic stops and such. But that doesn't mean that we have to turn off, either one of us, the law enforcement officer or the subject being pulled over. You don't have to turn off that switch of being polite,
your compassion,
and being nice.
Right.
It doesn't mean you won't still get a summons, but I'm going to give it to you nicely.
He's going to give it to you with a smile on his face.
No smiling. No smiling.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we might actually talk traffic safety or public safety or something when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, what are you doing with your kids all summer? I can't do another screen time marathon every time it's too hot outside or I need to work.
Same. That's why I signed mine up for Typewriter Studio camps.
Oh, I've seen that place. In Old Town Winchester. It's cute. Art, right?
Yeah, but way more than that. Confidence, goals, history, culture, with real art educators. And different camps every week. My kids actually grow there.
Wait, what ages?
1st through 8th grade, June through August. Half or full day. And you can even stack with the Discovery Museum.
Okay, that's smart.
Starts at just $180 with sibling discounts, so both of yours can go.
Send me that link.
Already did. It's typewriterstudio.org. Oh, and use code FULLDAY at checkout for 15% off the PM camps.
Don't waste another summer. Have your kid explore, play, create cool art, and build friendships in a safe, creative space with limited class sizes and licensed teachers. Visit typewriterstudio.org and click Summer Camps. Use code FULLDAY at checkout for 15% off the PM camp. Additional savings for members.
Welcome back. to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are live in the studio today for Public Safety Thursday. Captain Warren Gosnell sitting across the desk from me from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. And it has been quite a lively first segment. I think we both just needed to let off some steam for that first couple of minutes.
Spring has sprung.
Right, I know.
And so let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's show. Something to do with actual law enforcement and traffic safety and public safety and such. And so we've talked in the past recent shows about our school zone speed cameras.
Right.
We've talked about possible construction zone cameras. We're talking about possible red light cameras. And so someone asked me about, why are we turning, this is their words, why are we turning everything over to electronics instead of having human interaction? And so I've answered those questions, and the sheriff and I have talked about it because we're both of the belief of, in our county, with the 416 square miles, nearly 100,000 now in population for the county.
Still boggles my mind.
Add in the city of Winchester, even though they're a municipality with their own PD, you add those people are still within the area of the county where, we're close to 130,000 people. That doesn't include all the people that are passing through on a regular basis on their morning commutes, if they're traveling from point A to point B for vacations or other reasons. So when you start talking about the way Frederick County has grown, it's not that you don't want to give that personal touch of protecting and serving. It's the fact that while you're answering calls for service, the people that are in a civil dispute, the domestic that's going on, the juvenile problem, a child that for whatever reason doesn't want to go to school or isn't listening to mom or dad, and they want law enforcement's help with this. All the other myriad reasons now that people contact law enforcement, we're finding that we have fewer and fewer deputies available for proactive safety enforcement. Here's the other thing I'll say. I've answered a bunch of questions with the school speed zone camera systems. People see their photos. They see a short video clip. When they get the packet, they can log in. They can see this.
For the record, I would not know about any of that because I have not gotten any of them.
Knock on wood.
You're welcome.
Knock on wood, because school's not out yet. But they talk about seeing other vehicles within that photo or that video. And so we explain the fact that we don't use radar. We use LiDAR, and LiDAR is vehicle specific. And a LiDAR beam at 1,000 feet, and we shoot much closer than that, but at 1,000 feet, a radar beam, a radio signal for radar, is I want to say it's over 2,500, 3,000 feet wide.
Oh.
The further it goes out, okay, not right at the source, but as it goes out, it spreads out. At 1,000 feet, a LiDAR beam is still less than 6 inches. That's all the area it can cover.
Oh, that's true.
So there's no possible way that two vehicles can occupy that space as they may be able to do with a radar beam at 1,000 feet that is like 15 to 2,000 feet wide. And so we talk about that. And the thing to point out is the LiDAR, the laser, operates at the speed of light. That's very, very fast. I was going to ask you if you knew it because it's part of our testing when we test speed measurement operators.
I don't know that I would have gotten it right, but it makes sense. LiDAR, speed of light.
Yes.
I would have probably figured it out that way.
And so it's also at a set point. It does not move. It's not in an officer's hands. There's no way that I'm pointing at something thinking that's what I'm at, but I'm actually on something else. This is set at a stationary point that when a vehicle passes that point and that point only, it registers distance and speed. If that speed is below the 10 over, it doesn't activate the camera. Nothing's recorded. It doesn't get anything. But if it's over, it activates. So unlike a police officer who would sit there, do the same thing with a handheld LiDAR, shoot it, get a reading, and go stop that vehicle. Now, every other vehicle passing that point is free to do whatever they want. And as they roll by, they're like, better you than me, buddy. You know,
I've actually said that before.
but with this system, it's every car that comes through. And so with these other systems that municipalities and sheriff's offices and even the state now looking at highway safety cameras, the reason they're implementing it is because it does have that overall effect. It's a deterrent.
Right.
If you stay within the boundaries of the rules that are being set, you don't have to worry. But it's a deterrent to everybody. And so it's not that we're turning everything over to electronics because there's still human hands involved. It's just we don't have enough human hands to handle the other human hands that want to see us in person and try to address these safety concerns on the road. And so I wanted to point that out there because it was one of the things that people seem to think we're getting away from being a personable, approachable law enforcement agency. And that's not the case. It's our area is growing faster and beyond the capabilities that we're able to provide what's needed everywhere all the time. And so you set priorities, and the priority is always going to be human life. Whether that's a call.
As it should be.
Correct. And whether that's a call saying, hey, I think someone is assaulting someone, whether it be domestic, whether it be two strangers, whether it be two kids at the school, someone's being hurt right now. Or if it's someone with a weapon or anything that creates a danger to other people, that's always going to be a priority. And so you want to have those people in law enforcement available to respond to that. But it's also a priority to protect the lives on the highways in our jurisdiction.
And particularly in school zones, because that's where we're talking about the kids.
Well, and now, but we're going beyond that. We're talking about the red light cameras at busy intersections where we're also seeing T-bone crashes and such. We have an intersection near our office, and we finally were able to speak to the right people where flashing yellow left turn lights have now been turned off because the lights function properly. We know their intent. It's intended so someone in a left turn lane doesn't have to sit and wait when there's nothing coming towards them. It was working as it was supposed to, but drivers weren't waiting
the human factor.
And so when you add that in there, we were having crashes where, you know, it was always a T-bone because someone was coming across, turning in front of someone else. And so you put something like this there so that when people realize, okay, whether they agree or not, there's a camera there. You can cuss that camera up one side, down the other. You can cuss me up one side, down the other. You can cuss the sheriff if you want. He may not like it, and I'm not telling you to do it, but you can do it.
Don't you dare do that with my sheriff.
But that camera doesn't know the difference between you and anybody else. There is no bias. There is no claim, well, you only stop me because I'm this, or this, or I'm driving this, or this. And there's no claim of, what about that person? You know how many people along the shoulder of the road, Janet, when they're being issued, there's, well, that person's doing what I did. Why aren't you stopping them? And you have to look at them like,
Because maybe I'm standing right here.
If you want to sign quickly, I'll try to run to my car.
This is one of the reasons why I could never do what you do. I just don't have the restraint. I really, really don't.
Well, and it's why a lot of us wear sunglasses so you can't read our face.
That's true. It's why radio is such a good medium for us.
So instead of looking at it like, well, this is Big Brother or it's AI or it's the government, it's overreach, it's taxation, look at it for what it's truly intended. It's a safety measure being put in place. It is meant to be a deterrent. And if you feel that's a bad thing, then that tells me a little bit of what I already need to know. Because if you can't spare an extra few moments to wait for the cycle of the next light, if you're the one that's going to try to beat, and people say, you know, I've had people I beat that light. So you admit you were trying to beat the light. You believe you beat the light, but I don't believe it in my case. Yeah. So it's a matter of trying to provide as many of the services as we possibly can in the manner that we can. And I can tell you, no one wants to create a hardship for anyone else.
No.
And so I'll continue to preach that message as well. sometimes it's a tough choice. You're standing there and you're dealing with someone. At least for me, I try to get that. I remember being on that side of the window. I remember being the young guy in the '79 Trans Am. What are you laughing about?
That was a new car then, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. I couldn't afford a new Trans Am. Get out of here, girl. This was 1983, 84 when it was 5 years old by then.
Was it black with the...
No, it was blue, but it did have the eagle on the hood. 6.6 liter. Oldsmobile 403. Giddy up, go. But being that person, when I moved back here from Houston, after I spent 5 years there, in Houston, you did 70, 75, 80 on the freeway to survive.
Right.
Okay?
That's how it was when I visited Oklahoma 20 some odd years ago. You were doing 90 just to not get run over.
I moved back here, and when I moved back here to home, speed limit on the interstate was still 55. And so I wasn't driving the Trans Am in a manner to be like, yeah, I'm smoking the matter. 10-4, buddy, let's go, let's roll. I wasn't doing that. I was driving by muscle memory. And my muscle memory was, here's the way you drive
hammer down
on the freeway, and after the second, third ticket, it was like, okay,
I got to retrain my muscles.
I got to do something here. But I remember what it was like being on that side of the window, and just by the second one and definitely the third one, and after that, folks, it was sold, and I got in a Isuzu pickup truck, 4-cylinder. Yeah.
What color was it?
The Isuzu pup, and that's what they called them, pups. It's like it was like a goldish color, white rims for wheels. Yeah. Whew. But when I sold that, and prior to that, I was on that side of the window just begging to myself, please, please don't give me a ticket, please. Knowing in my heart that I wasn't out here being a dummy.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it on purpose.
It wasn't necessarily an intentional thing. Right.
So I know that now. I know what that feels like. And so when I'm on this side of the window and I'm trying to deal with this person, engaging the totality of the circumstance, and you try to read, is this someone that truly just, it was a lapse? When they say, hey, I have a clean driving record, I haven't had a ticket, is it because you haven't been given a ticket because you've always been given warnings? Or is it because today was a lapse in judgment and you were just driving poorly? I'll never forget the gentleman from Ohio. He ran a red light, and it was nighttime. So it was easy for me to tell that his light was red because I could see it, but also because my light was green, and he crossed in front of me. But I stopped him, and I'll never forget how... Once he gave me his information, I explained to him why I stopped him. I told him I would be back shortly. Came back and issued the summons, and as I was issuing it, he told me, he goes, you're ruining my perfect driving record.
Yeah, you are.
and it was the way he said it, and I was still an adult male. I got into law enforcement at 35, so I'm probably, 38, 39 at this point, a few years in, but I'm a grown-ass man. and it's like, it was the way he said it to me, and I just, without thinking, I was like, oh, no, sir. You're ruining your perfect driving record because you decided, instead of slowing and stopping for the red light, that you would just blow through it because there was only one car sitting there, and it happened to be me. And so... those are the times where you're like, look, if you knew this happened, there are better ways. We get back to the politeness, the kindness. There are better ways to try to plead your case, but blaming the officer for ruining your, at the moment, perfect driving record is not the way to go. And it begs to differ. All right, is it perfect because you've talked your way out of other things, or because this was a fluke?
This was just a fluke.
So just do the right thing. Know that we're going to try to continue to do the right thing. We're going to be in person as much as we can. But it's all about deterrence, which leads us back to the main goal of safety. Saving lives.
Safety over convenience.
Yes,
We haven't
ma'am.
said that in a while. Thank you for coming over and hanging out with me for a little bit.
Absolutely.
I will be back tomorrow. Brand spanking new episode of The Valley Today. Headed over to the new playground at Jim Barnett Park yesterday to record tomorrow's show. And it reminds me, like you were saying earlier, why little kids are not my thing anymore. I am very glad that mine are growing. But these kids were not happy that Conyer and I were walking around their playground obstructing the slides. So you'll hear more about that tomorrow, just a few minutes after noon.